Every executive in this room is under relentless pressure to find growth. You're looking at mergers and acquisitions. You're looking at new markets. You're looking at AI and automation. But what if I told you the largest organic growth opportunity in the American economy requires no capital expenditure, no M&A activity, and no new technology? What if I told you that it is sitting right on your payroll right now, waiting for you to claim it? According to Gallup's 2026 data, only 32% of the U.S. workforce is fully engaged. That means 68% of the people you're paying are operating below their potential capacity. The cost of that suppressed capacity in the United States is $2 trillion every single year. And Gallup tells us exactly what causes it. Managers account for 70% of the variance in team engagement. Do the math. That means roughly $1.4 trillion of U.S. productivity loss is attributable to management practices. Most leaders hear that number and get defensive. I want you to hear that number and get greedy. Because if management practices cause the loss, then management practices can recover it. Today, I'm going to show you how to recover your share of a $700 billion opportunity, half of what is lost, and how to use it to build a competitive moat that no one in your industry can cross. If the opportunity is this massive, why hasn't every company already seized on it? Because we are addicted to the predictability of the industrial age. Industrial age management, command and control, tight surveillance, hierarchical approval, is a locally optimal strategy for a broken incentive system. If your bonus is tied to a 90-day quarterly earnings report, you're likely not going to invest in the slow 12 to 24-month work of building a high-trust, high-engagement culture. You're going to extract whatever you can today, even if it burns the people out tomorrow. But let's look at where that addiction is actually costing you on the board's scorecard. When you run an information age company on an industrial age operating system, you manufacture corporate zombies. And zombies are expensive. Gallup tracks 5 metrics that every board cares about. Companies in the top quartile of engagement have 43% lower turnover. They have 64% fewer safety incidents. Their customer satisfaction is 10% higher. Their productivity is 18% higher, and their profitability is 23% higher. All right, so let's just look at turnover first. The cost of replacing a knowledge worker is 50% to 200% of their annual salary. If you have a 1,000-person organization with 20% annual turnover and an average salary of $80,000, you're spending an average of $16 million a year just to replace people who left because your environment drove them out. That cost belongs on your P&L. That's not a culture problem. That is a $16 million liability on your P&L. So what happens when you decide to stop the bleeding? Let's look at the recovery math. We know that 68% of the U.S. workforce is operating in a suppressed state. We know that a disengaged employee operates at roughly 60 to 70% of their possible throughput. What if you didn't try to fix the whole world? What if you just aim to move your organization from the U.S. average of 32% engagement to 50% engagement? That means moving 18% of your workforce from a zombie/zoner state into an engaged state. By doing that, you're recovering 30 to 40% of their individual throughput. And because of the theory of constraints, if you elevate the engagement of the people staffing your bottlenecks, you double the throughput of your entire value stream. If we apply that conservative 18-point improvement to the $1.4 trillion management-driven loss across the U.S., we're looking at roughly $700 billion in recoverable productivity. Half of that loss is recoverable, and it doesn't take a big change to do it. And it's recoverable without hiring a single new person. I worked with a financial services company that was bleeding talent. Their developers were treated like typists. They had no autonomy, no connection to the customer, and no psychological safety. Their engagement was abysmal, and their delivery times were measured in quarters. They didn't buy new software to fix the problem. They changed the environment. They pushed authority down to the teams. They made the work visible. They connected the developers directly to the users. Within 12 months, their turnover dropped to near zero. Their delivery time went from quarters to weeks. They recovered their share of the $700 billion. This is where the opportunity becomes an unfair advantage available to any company willing to seize it. Every organization in your industry is running at approximately 45 to 50% of its theoretical maximum throughput. They're all suffering from the same $1.4 trillion management tax. If you're the first organization in your sector to systematically raise your effective throughput to 75 or 80%, you don't just get to improve your margins. You create a competitive moat that is nearly impossible to replicate. Your competitors can buy the same AI tools you buy. They can hire the same consultants. They can copy your product features. But they can't buy your culture. They can't copy your environment. If they want to match your throughput, they have to do the hard 12 to 24 month work of dismantling their own industrial age management systems. If you start today, you have a 2-year head start on every competitor who is still waiting for their quarterly numbers to justify the investment. The $1.4 trillion loss is not a tragedy. It's a target. It's the largest pool of unoptimized capital in the world. And the only thing standing between you and your share of it is the courage to change how you manage. Stop defending the systems that are suppressing your people. Start building the environment that releases them. Claim your share of the $700 billion. Build the moat. Raise the dead. Thank you.